The deep black of space lit up with brilliant flashes of blue light as the alien ships tore through the fabric of reality. Commander James Walker stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, his hands clasped tightly behind his back. The massive display screen showed at least 30 vessels, each one bigger than the largest ships humanity had ever built. "Multiple contacts, sir," reported Tom from his sensor station. His voice stayed steady, but his fingers trembled slightly as they moved across the controls. They're huge. The alien ships looked like giant silver arrowheads, their hulls gleaming under Earth's distant sunlight. The largest one alone was nearly 5 miles long, dwarfing the UES Defender, which had once seemed so impressive at just under a mile in length. "Open broadcast on all frequencies," Walker ordered, keeping his own voice calm. Inside, his heart was racing, but 20 years of military service had taught him how to hide his fears. "And get me Earth Defense Command." Before anyone could carry out his orders, every screen on the bridge flickered. A face appeared. At least, Walker thought it was a face. The alien had gray-blue skin that seemed to shimmer like metal, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, its words came through in perfect English, though its mouth moved strangely. "Humans of Earth," the alien said, its voice filled with something that sounded like amusement. "I am High Commander Vex of the Stellar Dominion. Your world now stands at the edge of true civilization." Walker felt his jaw tighten. He trained for first contact scenarios, but there was something in the alien's tone that he didn't like. This wasn't a greeting. It was a threat wrapped in diplomatic words. "High Commander," Walker responded, "I am Commander James Walker of the United Earth Space Defense Force. We welcome peaceful." The alien's laughter cut him off. All 4 eyes blinked in sequence as it made a sound like metal grinding on metal. "Peace? Oh, you misunderstand, Commander. We are not here to talk. We are here to accept your surrender." The bridge crew exchanged worried looks. Walker took a deep breath, buying time to think. "Surrender? We've done nothing to provoke. Our scans show your defensive capabilities." Vex interrupted again. "Quite amusing, really. Your ships use chemical propulsion. Your weapon systems are primitive at best." The alien's face moved in what might have been a smile. "We just watched your missile tests. Tell me, Commander, do your weapons always miss their targets by such wide margins?" Walker kept his face neutral, even as his mind raced. They'd been watching the exercises, just as planned. "Our technology may not match yours," he said carefully, "but You have 1 Earth hour to transmit your surrender," Vex said. "After that, we will demonstrate true accuracy." The transmission cut off abruptly. For a moment, the bridge was silent. Then Walker turned to his communications officer. "Get me Admiral Thompson. Priority channel." "Sir," Tom called out, his voice tense. "The alien fleet is spreading out. They're taking up attack positions." Walker nodded. He'd expected this. They all had, really, even if they'd hoped first contact would go differently. Keep monitoring them. Record everything. And someone get me those missile test results. I want to know exactly what they saw. As his crew carried out their orders, Walker stared at the massive ships on the display. The aliens were playing right into their hands, but the next hour would be crucial. Everything depended on maintaining the deception just a little longer. Message from Earth Defense Command. "Sir," the communications officer announced. "Admiral Thompson is waiting." Walker squared his shoulders. "Put him through to my private channel." He turned toward his ready room, then paused and looked back at his crew. "Remember your training. Remember what we've prepared for. They think they know what we're capable of. Let's keep it that way, for now." The crew nodded, understanding in their eyes. They'd trained for this moment for years, playing their parts in humanity's greatest deception. Now it was time to see if their performance would convince an audience of conquerors who thought they were looking at easy prey. Little did the aliens know, Their laughter at humanity's apparent incompetence was exactly the reaction Earth had spent decades working to achieve. The elevator descended deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, carrying Walker down to the real Earth Defense Command. Unlike the showy surface installation that the aliens could see, this was where humanity's true military leadership worked. The walls were bare metal, illuminated by strips of white light that cast no shadows. Walker checked his watch. 40 minutes left until the aliens' deadline. His stomach tightened, but not from fear. After years of preparation, everything was finally happening. He just hoped they'd planned for enough possibilities. The elevator stopped, and Walker stepped out into a large circular room. Admiral Thompson stood at the center table with the Joint Chiefs, all of them studying a holographic display of Earth's orbit. The alien ships glowed as red dots, spread out in an attack formation. "Commander Walker," Thompson said, looking up. His weathered face showed no sign of worry. "Good to see you in person. I trust our visitors bought the performance." "They laughed at our missiles, sir," Walker reported, allowing himself a small smile. "Just like we wanted." Their high commander seemed particularly amused by last week's targeting tests. "Excellent." Thompson pressed a button, and the hologram changed to show something very different from the primitive defense system the aliens had scanned. Complex networks of underground facilities lit up across the globe, connected by lines that represented quantum communication channels the aliens couldn't detect. "For those who don't know," Thompson said, looking at some of the younger officers present, "we've spent the last 30 years maintaining two separate military development programs. The surface program, which we've deliberately kept at a level that would look natural for our public technological progress, and this." The hologram zoomed in on one of the underground bases. Walker had seen it before, but some of the others gasped. Instead of the simple missile silos the aliens had detected, these facilities housed weapons that looked more advanced than even the Stellar Dominion's technology. "Project Mirror," Thompson continued. "While they watched us play with rockets and basic fusion drives, we were perfecting quantum-guided weaponry. Every failed missile test helped convince them our aim was poor. Every primitive scanner reading hid the real sensors underneath. We've been building this shadow arsenal since we first detected their probe ships 15 years ago." "Sir," one of the younger officers spoke up, "why go to all this trouble? Why not just show our real strength?" Walker answered before Thompson could. "Because the Stellar Dominion has conquered 12 other civilizations. We studied their pattern. When they meet a species with obvious advanced weapons, they strike hard and fast, using their full military might. But when they find a primitive world," he let the words hang. Thompson nodded. "They toy with their prey. Send smaller fleets. Get overconfident." He looked around the room. "We've drawn in their B team. They're second-rate ships and crews. The ones they send to handle simple conquests." A hologram changed again, showing the locations of their real weapons, hidden launchers that could fire missiles capable of changing direction instantly using quantum fields, energy weapons disguised as communication arrays, defensive systems that would make their ships virtually untouchable once activated. "We have 35 minutes, Thompson said. "Commander Walker will return to his ship and continue playing our part. The rest of you, get to your stations. When they attack, they'll aim for our visible military bases first. Let them think they're winning." Walker headed back to the elevator, his mind already preparing for what came next. The aliens had no idea that every missed shot in humanity's records had been deliberately planned. No idea that humans had learned to master space warfare in secret while pretending to struggle with basic rocketry. They would learn soon enough, and their laughter would stop. The hour passed quickly. Walker stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, watching as the alien ships moved into their final attack positions. Their formation showed their confidence. They weren't even trying to protect their weak spots. Why would they, against such primitive enemies? "Time's up," Tom said from his station. Right on cue, the alien commander's face appeared on their screen again. Your time to surrender has ended, High Commander Vex announced. Now observe the power of a truly advanced civilization. The transmission cut off abruptly. Bright beams of energy shot from the alien ships, striking Earth's most visible military bases. The explosions lit up the night side of the planet like small suns. Walker clenched his fists behind his back, reminding himself that those bases were mostly empty. Just for show, like everything else the aliens could see. "Sir," Tom called out, "they're targeting our orbital defense platforms next." His voice shook slightly, playing his part perfectly. "Launch countermeasures," Walker ordered. "All ships, begin evasive actions." The human fleet moved slowly, clumsily, just as they'd practiced. Their missiles fired wide, missing the alien ships by what looked like poor calculations rather than careful planning. High Commander Vex's laughter boomed through their speakers again. "Is this truly the best Earth can offer? Your weapons cannot even fly straight." More alien ships joined the attack, growing bolder with each passing minute. The UES Defender shuddered as alien weapons struck its shields. The damage looked worse than it was. They'd rigged special effects into the hull just for this moment. Sparks flew dramatically on the bridge as Walker stumbled, catching himself on a railing. "Shields failing," someone shouted. "We can't take another hit like that." Walker activated his personal command screen, hidden from the aliens' view. The real battle map showed everything going according to plan. The Stellar Dominion ships had moved exactly where Earth's generals had predicted, spreading out to target multiple locations at once. Their arrogance made them predictable. More missiles launched from Earth, all appearing to miss badly. The aliens didn't even bother dodging anymore. Their ships pressed forward, pushing deeper into Earth's orbit, focusing their attention on the visible defense platforms that seemed to be falling so easily. "Sir," Tom said, real excitement creeping into his voice now. "They've crossed the inner defense line." Walker allowed himself a small smile. "Send the signal." He opened a channel to all Earth forces. "All ships, begin Protocol Omega. Fall back to secondary positions." The human fleet retreated messily, looking like they were barely holding formation. High Commander Vex's face appeared one more time. "Watch, primitives, as we destroy your pathetic excuse for a military. Perhaps we'll keep your planet as a training ground for our junior officers." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, showing his amusement. Walker looked at his real command screen again. The underground bases were reporting ready. The quantum weapon systems were charged. The aliens had positioned themselves perfectly, focusing all their attention on the decoy targets while leaving their flanks completely exposed. "Your weapons cannot even hit a target right in front of you," Vex continued. "How did you ever think you could stand against?" A new alarm sounded on the alien commander's bridge. Walker saw the moment of confusion in those 4 eyes. The first scans showing strange energy readings from deep underground. The sudden realization that something wasn't right. But it was too late. The trap was ready. Humanity's real weapons were about to reveal themselves, and the aliens' laughter would turn to something very different. Walker opened a channel to Admiral Thompson. "They're in position, sir. Permission to show them what real accuracy looks like." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Anna Roberts watched the final pieces fall into place. Her underground command center hummed with energy as the quantum guidance systems came fully online. Screens covered every wall, showing the positions of the alien ships above. Years of work, decades of secrecy, all building to this moment. "All systems green," her assistant Mike called out. "Power levels at maximum. The aliens still haven't detected our energy signature." He looked up from his station, eyes bright with excitement. "They really can't see us." Anna nodded, allowing herself a moment of pride. The quantum shielding technology her team had developed didn't just hide their weapons, it made them completely invisible to alien scanners. As far as the Stellar Dominion knew, they were shooting at a planet with technology barely advanced enough for basic space travel. "Status report from all facilities," she ordered, moving to the central control station. The massive underground network they'd built stretched across the entire planet, hidden beneath mountains, oceans, and deserts. Each base reported in sequence, their signals carried by quantum channels that the aliens couldn't intercept. Base 2, ready. Base 3, ready. Base 4, standing by. The confirmations continued until all 20 major facilities had checked in. Each one housed weapons that would have seemed impossible to the public just a few years ago. Missiles guided by quantum fields that could change direction instantly. Energy weapons that could pierce any known shield. Defense systems that could predict enemy attacks before they happened. Message from Command. Mike announced. Commander Walker reports the aliens are in final position. They've taken the bait completely. Anna pulled up the orbital display. The alien ships had spread out, focusing their attention on Earth's visible defenses. Their formation was loose, overconfident. They'd positioned themselves exactly where the simulations had predicted they would. Launch control systems online, another technician reported. Quantum guidance computers running at full capacity. We're tracking all enemy vessels. The room fell quiet as they waited for the final order. Anna's team had spent years preparing for this moment, testing and refining their weapons in absolute secrecy. The missiles that had seemed to miss their targets in tests had actually hit exactly where they were supposed to. The aliens just couldn't see the real targets. Signal from Admiral Thompson, Mike said suddenly. Code word received. We are cleared to proceed. Anna took a deep breath. Initialize primary launch sequence. All bases prepare to fire on my mark. Her fingers moved across the control panel, entering the final command codes. Remember, timing is everything. We only get one chance at a perfect first strike. The launch tubes hidden throughout the mountain range powered up. Similar systems activated in bases around the world. On the surface, nothing seemed to change. The quantum shielding kept everything invisible. But beneath the ground, humanity's real weapons were about to reveal themselves. Targeting solutions locked, Mike reported. All weapons show green. The aliens still think we're shooting blind. Anna looked at the orbital display one last time. The Stellar Dominion ships hung there, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Their arrogance had made them careless. They'd never bothered to look for weapons they didn't think humans could build. Send word to Commander Walker, she ordered. Tell him we're ready down here. Then begin final countdown sequence. The underground facility rumbled slightly as the launch systems reached full power. Decades of technological development, all disguised as failed experiments and missed shots, were about to pay off. The aliens had laughed at humanity's apparent inability to hit a target. They were about to learn just how good human aim really was. The first wave of humanity's real missiles streaked from their hidden launch sites, appearing to the aliens as just another set of poorly aimed shots. High Commander Vex watched them from his bridge, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he prepared to laugh again at the humans' apparent incompetence. The laughter died in his throat as the impossible happened. Every single missile suddenly changed course at speeds that shouldn't have been possible. They turned at perfect right angles, their quantum drives ignoring the normal laws of physics. The aliens' advanced sensors couldn't even track the movement properly. One moment the missiles were missing widely. The next, they were right on target. Impossible, Vex shouted, all 4 eyes wide with shock. Raise shields to maximum power. But the shields didn't matter. The quantum-guided weapons passed right through them, as if they weren't there. The first alien ship erupted in a brilliant explosion that lit up Earth's orbit like a new star. On the bridge of the UES Defender, Walker allowed himself a real smile. Signal all ships, he ordered. Drop the act. Show them what Earth vessels can really do. The seemingly clumsy human ships suddenly moved with perfect precision. Panels slid away from their hulls, revealing weapons the aliens had never seen before. The UES Defender's fake damage disappeared, quantum shields shimming into visibility as they activated at full power. Multiple direct hits confirmed, Tom reported, no longer pretending to be nervous. Their shields aren't stopping anything. Our quantum missiles are passing right through their defenses. In his underground facility, Admiral Thompson watched the battle unfold exactly as they had planned. The alien ships tried to regroup, but they had spread themselves too thin, too confident in their superiority. Now they were paying the price for their arrogance. More missiles launched from Earth's surface. The aliens tried to shoot them down, but their weapons couldn't lock onto the quantum-shifted projectiles. Each missile that appeared to miss suddenly turned in mid-flight, striking with perfect accuracy. "Send the signal to all bases," Thompson ordered. "Full deployment authorized. Let's show them everything." Hidden weapon platforms emerged from the oceans. Defense satellites that had looked like simple communication relays revealed their true nature. The entire planet seemed to transform as humanity's real military power showed itself at last. High Commander Vex's voice crackled across all channels, panic replacing his earlier amusement. "What is this?" "Your technology. You couldn't possibly." "You saw what we wanted you to see," Walker responded calmly. "Every missed shot was aimed exactly where we meant it to go. Every failed test was a perfect success. You thought you were watching our mistakes, but you were really watching our targeting practice." Another alien ship vanished in a flash of light as quantum missiles struck its engines. 3 more followed quickly, their crews never even seeing the weapons that destroy them. The mighty fleet of the Stellar Dominion was falling apart. "All ships moving to your position," Dr. Roberts reported from her underground base. "Quantum grid is fully active. They won't be able to escape through hyperspace." Walker watched as the remaining alien ships tried to flee, only to find themselves trapped by technology they couldn't understand. Their weapons, so devastating against the decoy defenses, barely scratched the real quantum shields protecting Earth's ships. "Perhaps," Walker said to his crew, though he knew the aliens could still hear him, "they'll think twice next time about laughing at someone's aim before they understand what they're really targeting." The battle was almost over. Humanity's long deception had worked perfectly. And somewhere in the chaos of Earth's orbital space, the sound of alien laughter had been replaced by the sound of their defeat. The last explosions faded from Earth's orbit, leaving behind the scattered remains of what had been the Stellar Dominion's invasion fleet. Only 3 alien ships remained intact, surrounded by Earth vessels that no longer bothered hiding their true capabilities. The quantum defense grid hummed silently, keeping the survivors trapped in normal space. High Commander Vex's ship, once proudly leading the attack, now drifted powerless. Its main engines had been precisely disabled by weapons that, just hours ago, he had mocked as primitive and inaccurate. His bridge was dark, emergency power barely keeping life support running. "Incoming transmission from the human vessel," one of his officers reported, voice shaking. The crew's confidence had vanished along with their shields and weapons. The screen lit up, showing Commander Walker's face. The human looked exactly as calm as he had before, but now there was no need to hide the steel behind his eyes. "High Commander," Walker said, "I believe it's time we had a real conversation about Earth's capabilities." Vex's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, trying to process what had happened. "How?" he managed to ask. "Our scans showed. We watched your tests." "You watched what we wanted you to watch," Walker replied. "Every missed shot was deliberate. Every failed launch was perfect. We knew you were coming 15 years ago, when your probe ships first entered our solar system. We've been preparing ever since." On the UES Defender's bridge, Tom pulled up the final battle statistics. 27 enemy ships disabled or destroyed, sir. No casualties on our side. The quantum shields performed exactly as Dr. Roberts predicted. Walker nodded, keeping his eyes on the alien commander's image. "Your invasion fleet never stood a chance, High Commander. We knew your tactics, how you judge a civilization's strength, how you adjust your attack force based on their apparent technology level. So we showed you exactly what you expected to see." In the underground command center, Admiral Thompson watched the exchange with satisfaction. Decades of work had paid off perfectly. The most powerful alien empire known to exist had just learned a costly lesson about underestimating their opponents. "Your weapons," Vex said, his voice mixing fear and awe. "They moved in ways that should be impossible. Our shields, they didn't even slow them down." "Quantum guidance systems," Walker explained. "While you watched us play with chemical rockets, we were perfecting technology you haven't even discovered yet. Those missiles that seemed to miss, they were hitting invisible targets in exactly the right spots, helping us calibrate our targeting systems." The alien commander's face showed a new emotion, recognition of just how completely they had been outmaneuvered, not just in battle, but in the years leading up to it. Every scan, every observation, every moment of proud superiority had been carefully planned by the humans. "The other worlds you conquered," Walker continued, "the ones that showed their real strength immediately. You hit them with everything you had, didn't you? Your full fleet, your best weapons. But for us," he smiled slightly, "for us, you sent your second-best ships, your overconfident commanders. Because why waste the good ones on such an easy target?" Vex couldn't meet Walker's eyes anymore. Around his ship, more human vessels decloaked, each one bristling with weapons that his sensors still couldn't properly analyze. The orbital defense platforms that had seemed so primitive now glowed with power that made his instruments spark when they tried to scan them. "Signal from Earth Defense Command," Tom announced. "They're ready to begin official surrender negotiations." Walker nodded. The deception was over. Now came the harder part, showing the galaxy that humanity's true strength wasn't just in their hidden weapons, but in their ability to think long-term, to plan, to outmaneuver an enemy not just in battle, but in the years leading up to it. 1 month after the failed invasion, Earth's orbital space looked very different. The debris from the battle had been cleared away, replaced by openly displayed defense platforms and quantum shield generators. There was no more need for hiding, no more pretending to be less than they were. Walker stood in the newly revealed Earth Defense Command Center, watching as alien diplomatic ships arrived from across the galaxy. Not just from the Stellar Dominion, but from a dozen other civilizations who had heard about what happened. The story had spread quickly, how humanity had fooled the most powerful empire known to exist, using their own arrogance against them. "The Dominion's diplomatic team is ready," Admiral Thompson said, walking up beside him. "They're quite different from the military commanders we dealt with. Much more humble." Walker smiled slightly. Amazing how quickly attitudes change when you discover your opponent was playing you the whole time. They walked together to the main conference room, where Earth's leaders were gathering to negotiate the new peace treaty. The room itself showed humanity's true level of technology. Quantum displays lined the walls, showing real-time data from across the solar system. No more pretending to use primitive screens and basic computers. High Commander Vex was there, though he no longer held that rank. He had been demoted after the failed invasion, but the Dominion had kept him as part of the diplomatic team. After all, he had learned humanity's capabilities firsthand. "Commander Walker," Vex said, all 4 eyes downcast. "Your people have taught the Dominion a valuable lesson. One we should have learned long ago. Never judge an opponent by what they show you," Walker replied. "Sometimes the ones who seem weakest are just better at hiding their strength." Dr. Roberts joined them, carrying data tablets that displayed the full extent of Earth's technological achievements. The aliens' eyes widened as they scrolled through the information. Quantum physics theories that went far beyond their understanding, weapon designs that broke what they thought were universal laws. "Your deception was impressive," one of the alien diplomats admitted. "Not just the technology, but the planning, the patience, to maintain such a facade for so many years. We knew we couldn't match your numbers," Thompson explained. "Couldn't build as many ships, couldn't field as large an army. So we had to be smarter, had to make you defeat yourselves." The meeting continued for hours as new agreements were drawn up. The Stellar Dominion would withdraw from Earth's space entirely. More than that, they would help protect it, not out of kindness, but out of fear of what other secrets humans might be hiding. Later, Walker stood on the observation deck, watching the diplomatic ships depart. Tom joined him, holding a datapad with reports from across the galaxy. "Word's spreading fast," Tom said. "3 other empires have already requested defensive alliances with Earth. They all want to know how we developed quantum technology in secret." Walker nodded. "And we'll keep some secrets, even now. Let them wonder what else we might be hiding. Sometimes, the best defense is letting others worry about what you're not showing them." In orbit above, the UES Defender patrolled proudly, no longer pretending to be less than it was. Its quantum shields glowed visibly, a reminder to everyone who saw it that appearances could be deceiving. The aliens had laughed at humanity's aim, never realizing that every missed shot was a hit on a target they couldn't see. They had mocked Earth's primitive technology, not understanding that the greatest weapon wasn't the hidden missiles or quantum drives. It was the ability to think long-term, to plan, to use an enemy's own assumptions against them. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through brute force, but through patience, intelligence, and the understanding that sometimes the best way to win a fight was to lose it spectacularly, until exactly the right moment.